Good evening, everyone. This is yours and mine. I'm Jasmine. I want to welcome you back to the podcast. Today we're going to be talking about what toxic masculinity looks like. So I don't mean to sound like a man hater at all in this episode. I just want to go ahead and put that disclaimer out. I know us women sometimes tend to be man haters, and sometimes I think guys can take that very personal, which I guess I see how, because if we're always saying men are trash, y'all are trash, all this stuff, it's sometimes I feel like guys are like, wow, okay, and it's kind of like an unattractive thing. I don't know, but I just want to go ahead and put that out there. I don't mean to sound like a man hater in this. It may come off that way, who knows. I'm just going to speak my mind. I'm going to speak my opinions, so I just want to put that out there. I don't really know how much I can speak on it because I feel like this is a man topic, but also I feel like when you're talking about toxic masculinity, it's how you come off to other people. Like, other people are seeing you in this way. A lot of times you might not know that you're being toxic, maybe. I don't know, but I feel like it does have to do with women in some sort, because if you portray yourself as toxic while, in any relationship with a woman or talking to women, even talking to other guys, I feel like they could probably sense if you were toxic. But yeah, pretty much I'm just gonna go ahead and share my opinions on this. But oftentimes you hear the words man card, you hear dominant, alpha male, beta male. You for sure hear those words if you ever listen to the Hodge Twins. I don't know if anybody watches the Hodge Twins. I don't know if you've ever been to one of their shows, but basically they're comedians. If you don't know, they have a channel on YouTube. They also have a subscription thing for their videos, but they use alpha and beta so much in their videos, and I believe the Hodge Twins are probably an example of toxic masculinity. I'm not saying them personally, but the way they portray themselves in their videos, for comedic reasons, I hope that's the right word, they would definitely come off, and they would definitely be in that toxic masculinity category. But I'm not saying that's for them, how they are personally, outside of the comedy videos and everything. But anyway, if you watch the videos, you know what I'm talking about. They're always saying this crazy advice. I understand, that's what their videos are for, pretty much. I just want to get that out of the way, because I feel like if I say one wrong word, people are going to come at me. And, there's got to be 1,000 disclaimers in 2020. If you don't give 1,000 disclaimers, you finna get, canceled. All this, cancel culture stuff coming up. Yeah. So, I'm not trying to be Nick Cannon out here. Oh, no. Okay. Anyway, back to what I was talking about. The words, man card and dominant and all of these things. I think a lot of people use those. A lot of guys use those. And I don't know if that contributes to toxic masculinity. But for me, if I hear a bunch of dudes talking about, oh, I'm an alpha, oh, I'm a beta, oh, this stuff, I'm like, what? Why? For what? And I feel like putting yourselves into those kind of, trying to be an alpha male, I feel like that can be very toxic sometimes. I think those are actual, words for it, that's an actual category for it. But to me, personally, whenever I hear alpha male, oh, you're alpha, oh, I'm a beta, oh, whatever, oh, my man card, I'm like, yeah, your toxic masculinity is definitely showing right now. And being dominant and stuff like that, I feel like that definitely shows it. So, anyway, also, I want to go ahead and add to that, doing things, ways that you show that you have toxic masculinity. Some of the things I thought personally, remember, this is all me personally, so take this with a grain of salt, as they say. I feel like when you do actions such as putting down women or putting down other people, you're like, oh, I'm better than this person, oh, that person is this way, oh that, that's definitely toxic. You're trying to build yourself up, make yourself look better. I feel like that's a trait amongst a lot of people, though, not just men or people who are toxic. I feel like that's just a trait amongst a lot of people, trying to be better than others and put other people down and stuff like that. Another thing is oh, my voice. Another thing is bragging about one night stands and baby mamas and all this stuff. You always hear guys sometimes bragging about these baby mamas that they got. Nobody wants your baby mama drama. Nobody wants your package. Nobody wants your luggage. You got too much baggage, son. You know what I'm saying? But bragging about that kind of stuff, definitely bragging about one night stands, that's a definite thing for me. That's a definite sign, oof, nah, skip, swipe right. I also seen like violence and like against people and animals, but I don't know if that's necessarily toxic masculinity, but I feel like violence towards people is. I feel like whenever you feel like you have to be violent, whenever you feel like you have to fight somebody and win, whenever you feel like all of this stuff, oh, like I'm big, I'm like jacked, I have all this muscle on me, like, oh, nobody can beat me up, nobody can win, like, you know, I'm dominant, like I can do this to anybody I want to because I'm like dominant, you know what I'm saying? I hope this is making sense, because it makes sense to me, but I don't know if I'm describing it in the right way. Also, to go along with the one night stands, bragging about sexual partners, I feel like that's just a thing a lot of guys do to each other, is brag about, oh, this girl was like this, oh, this girl, oh, she was good, oh, whatever. But I feel like if you feel like you have to brag about your sexual partners, like you have to bring it up to all your homies, you have to bring it up to everybody, you have to let everybody know that you did it with this girl, or you did it with, if you swing that way, you did it with this dude. But yeah, I feel like if you feel like you have to bring that up to show like your significance, I feel like that's definitely toxic. Another thing is being homophobic in a way. This is the biggest one. I think this is the biggest thing that shows you have like toxic masculinity, is being homophobic in a way. Like if you always have to say no homo after something, if you're always like pointing out something somebody else is doing and saying they're doing it in a weird way, like that is so unattractive. That is so just, I hate that personally. It just makes you come off so just fragile and also just toxic. Like you can't do anything without making sure you don't look a certain way first. Like you can't say a certain word, you can't tell somebody something, you can't compliment another guy. Like you're being so homophobic and feeling like somebody's gonna think you are that way. I feel like that's one of the biggest things. That is definitely one of the biggest things for me. Like, oh my gosh, there's nothing more toxic than being so homophobic. I honestly, okay. moving on, let's go. Okay, so to me, all of those things I just listed, it comes off as unattractive. I already said that earlier. It's very unattractive to see any of those things. Definitely like violence, the whole violence thing towards people or animals or anything else you can be violent towards just to show your dominance. That's very unattractive. If I see you like, you know, you're like, oh, like I can do this, I can hit this animal, or I can hit this person, it's gonna make me look better. Like, no, it's so unattractive. Anytime any man has like, you know, beat up somebody to look better, I don't know if I'm making sense. I hope I am, but I just want to say, like, all of these things that I already listed, they come off very unattractive. Like I said already, the homophobic thing is the worst. It's number one, the worst. Like, be comfortable in your own skin, in your own sexuality. Like, come on now. It is 2020. We ain't got no time for that. Definitely bragging about one night stands and baby mamas. I don't know if people have been around somebody who's bragged about their baby mamas, but oh my gosh. Ooh, so unattractive. Like, I don't see how women can be attracted to somebody who does that sort of thing, who, not necessarily just that, but also like the one night stands and the sexual partners thing. I just don't understand. Also, putting down other people, just unattractive. Just simply unattractive, okay? To me, it also like kind of shows that you're unstable in a way, because you feel like you have to do these things to come off a certain way, or to be better, to be bigger, to be more to be more manly. All of these things, it's just like, are you a little unstable, son? You know, is this what you have to do to, you know, feel better about yourself? It also kind of seems like you have deeper problems. If you're out here doing that kind of stuff, it's like there's something wrong at home. You know what I'm saying? Like, are you good? Like, I know guys don't tend to share their emotions. I also feel like that's another thing that can be put into this category. I feel like that's also going to be a future episode, men and women's different emotions. I feel like I could really talk about that, because I feel like more people do definitely need to be talking about that. We need more light shed on that subject. But yeah, just the deeper problems thing, that's kind of how it comes off sometimes, if, you know, you've done some of those things. And sometimes the homophobic thing, or a lot of these things, also come off as you're uncomfortable in your own skin, or you're just uncomfortable with the person you are, or maybe you're uncomfortable with the situation you're in or something like that. But definitely comes off uncomfortable. basically, yeah. So, moving on. I feel like some good things to do as a man to not be toxic, things that are not toxic. Those little non-toxic stickers they put on the markers? This is you right here, non-toxic, okay? My voice is like keeps going out. It doesn't want me to do this episode right now. So good things I feel like people like to see in a man that they would consider not toxic, just okay, is a dude who has emotions. For sure, a dude who has emotions. Like, I know, like, I've heard from many people and many sources and just articles and everything that some women don't like it when men are emotional. Like, I don't know who those women are, because as women, we are mostly emotional beings. We're not afraid to share our emotions, kind of like guys are afraid to. We're not as, afraid to do that. So I don't know who is out here like shaming guys for sharing their emotions. Like, women, come on now. Like, opening up. Like, if you have a dude opening up to you, what more can you ask for? You should not be complaining, sis. Like, come on now. I don't know how you would shame somebody or tell them to be more manly or anything. I've actually read stories about I read stories from guys saying that any of these women that they've been with have sometimes been like, when they open up to them, they're like, oh, why are you being emotional? Aren't you a man? Like, be more manly, man up, and stuff like that. Like, that is not okay to do, but I think it is a good thing. It shows that, you're not toxic if you do have emotions. You're not afraid to be like, oh, I'm a man, I don't have no emotions, I don't cry. You know what I'm saying? I feel like that's very common. So yeah. Also, to appreciate and respect women, that's also a very good thing. Like, that comes off in a good way when you appreciate and respect women, not put them down and call them names. I feel like if you have a mother and you're out here calling other women names, like, son, where did you go wrong? Like, oof, I can't imagine. And people that don't expect women to be a certain way, like the whole go make me a sandwich thing, like, come on, bruh. Like, go make your own sandwich, son. So yeah, pretty much. And another good thing is they don't feel like they need to brag, whenever you do something and that's good enough for yourself, you don't need to brag. If you done something good, it'll show. Like, you don't have to go tell everybody, oh, I just did this. Like, I feel like if you can do something good without bragging about it, that also comes off in a very good way. And another thing is not taking gender roles too seriously. Like, some guys, they won't let their girls do certain things to them because it's a certain gender role. Like, not having women, like I just said, make you sandwiches, not having women always do the dishes, not having women always doing the laundry, stuff like common society norms like that. Honestly, that sounds so 1800s to me. Like, I don't know how people are still doing this whole women are made to clean and take care of the kids. Like, how are we still doing this? I don't understand. Like, I could not imagine. So yeah, stuff like that. And also, like, men not afraid to do some of the stuff women typically do. So you're not afraid to, help out with the dishes. You're not afraid to do some of the laundry. You're not afraid to stay home if you have kids, take care of your kids, go out with your kids alone, stuff like that. So that is pretty much what I wanted to say about that. And also, I wanted to get into some, like, deeper stuff, like the bad effects toxic masculinity can have, because there is effects that is, like, you can, like, bad effects from this thing. Like, it's an actual thing that can have effects on you. But before that, I want to say that we always talk about toxic masculinity, but there is such a thing as toxic femininity. Now, I'm going to go ahead and say that I did not know this even existed until my boyfriend brought it up, because he watched a YouTube video from another woman who does podcasts or something, I believe. I was like, what? I didn't even know that existed. So honestly, I feel pretty bad on my side not knowing that even existed. But I do want to put that out there. Like, toxic femininity is actually a thing. Nobody talks about it, and I feel like that could be a possible topic for a future episode. I don't know if you guys want to hear about that, but I feel like we need to, include ourselves, because we're not we do stuff too. It's not just men who are doing everything bad, who are doing all of this stuff. It's women too. We contribute to the negative side also. It's not just men doing it. Okay, we got to get over that, you know? So I do think I want to talk about that in a future episode. So you might be seeing that soon. I don't know. Okay. Back to the actual effects this whole masculinity thing can have. So I was looking up on Wikipedia. So this is actual facts. If you want to go ahead and look on there, like, to back me up on this, because I know sometimes Wikipedia, like, anybody can edit it, I believe. So I don't know if it's completely true, but some of the stuff it was saying was it has psychological problems. Like, it comes with depression, stress, body image problems, substance abuse, poor social functioning, stuff like that. And I do think body image problems is a bigger thing in guys than we think it is. But we just don't talk about it, so I think we need to talk about it. Not in this episode, because that is for another day. But that is some of the psychological problems they could have. I don't think people pay attention to that, but the depression, stress is a for sure thing. I also saw that it said shorter lifespans. Like, I was like, what? How? Shorter lifespans? What do you mean? So, if you want to go look that up for more information, feel free. I don't want to go ahead and get into it too much because I don't want this episode to be so long, but we're going to go ahead and go to another one, which is HIV transmission. So yeah, that can be another contribution to this. My words aren't coming through. So yeah, the whole trophy hunting thing. So yeah, HIV transmission pretty much is all I'm going to say about that one. You can go look that up also. And then the last one on here is violent death. It's by Frank Pittman. He wrote about the ways in which guys are harmed by the masculine norms. So basically he's the one saying shorter lifespans, violent death, things such as that. So if you want to know more about that, Frank Pittman, go ahead and read anything that he has. He is a psychiatrist, so that's where I'm taking this from. Like I said, all this stuff is from Wikipedia, so if you did want to go look, there is your source. So I want to go ahead and wrap this episode up, but I hope it was somewhat informational. But this is all just my opinions, and I don't want anybody to take this too seriously. Like, I don't want to be flamed. I do not want to be roasted, okay? Like, if you don't agree, that is okay. Simply just, leave a comment, leave a suggestion, a review, whatever, and we can, get the different sides. Everybody's different sides. I want to get everybody's different sides. So yeah, if there is a submission form, or if there's a contact form, whichever platform you're listening on, if you want to say your side and don't agree with anything I say, I would love to hear that. But yeah, pretty much all I want to say in conclusion to this episode is you can still be masculine without it being toxic. And trust me, well, I'm going to speak for myself, because some of them women, I'm not really sure, but I think someone who is not toxic comes off much more attractive than someone who is toxic and has any of those traits that we talked about earlier in the episode. So that is pretty much it for toxic masculinity. I hope you guys enjoyed listening to this episode. Like I said, I want to hear everybody's thoughts and opinions. Facebook, you can go there to leave them. If you're not listening on YouTube, you can go there and leave it in the comments. I think that's one of the best places for a discussion, because everybody else can see your comments. You can kind of have a whole discussion there. So yeah, and all the other platforms this podcast is available, and I want you guys to know that it's not only on one platform. It's going to be on Spotify, it's on iHeart, it's on Pandora, it's on Overcast, it's on Anchor. Any of these platforms, you can go listen to it for free. So, and I hope you guys really support this. I would love for you to subscribe if you're on YouTube, and follow me if you're on any of the other platforms. I would love for the support. Make sure to leave a comment, whichever one you're using. I would love to hear back from everybody. So yeah, that's going to wrap up this episode. Make sure to come back next week, where we're going to talk about relationships. All right, we're going to get into relationships. So make sure you come back next week. I'm Jasmine. This is Yours and Mine, and thank you for listening.